Tilopa is regarded as one of the foremost masters of the tantric tradition. His history is not clearly known, as many sources have different versions of his life, yet all agree on one basic principle. Tilopa is a renowned master in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition and is considered one of the 84 Mahasiddhas, or greatly accomplished ones. Tilopa's early life is perhaps his biggest mystery. He grew up in East Bengal, India, in 988 AD, and was raised by his father, Pranyasha, and his mother, Kashi. The debate on his early life exists mostly over his upbringing. Most historians say that Tilopa was born the king of his Indian province, yet others say that Tilopa was born into the Brahmin caste, where he lived most of his adolescence as a shepherd. Where the interpretations begin to come together is with the introduction of the Buddhist master Nagarjuna. As the story goes, either dissatisfied with his princely life, or merely just seeking instruction, Tilopa sought out the services of Nagarjuna, who in turn began to teach young Tilopa the Dharma. It is said in one interpretation that Nagarjuna appointed Tilopa as the ruler of a kingdom in Balenta, thus tying together the two interpretations of his life. Regardless of which is true, after receiving his teachings, Tilopa decided to renounce his kingdom in order to begin monastic training at the tantric temple of Somapuri. While in his training as a monk, Tilopa is said to have encountered a group of Dakinis. While in their presence, Tilopa demonstrated an intense will to learn, and began to receive instruction in all their areas of expertise. This very special and rare instruction is said to have given Tilopa a direct connection with the void. It is through his experiences in training with the Dakinis that Tilopa is said to have received the instruction to shed his monastic robes and practice his training in secret. Tilopa did just this. So intent was Tilopa in attaining his goal and following the path of the Dakinis that he decided to inhabit a cave for a period of 12 years, not leaving until he had attained enlightenment. His conviction was so strong that it is said Tilopa chained his own legs to prevent himself from ever leaving the cave. After this 12-year period of intense practice, Tilopa's chains are said to have fallen off, albeit prematurely because he had not yet achieved enlightenment. Intent on continuing his practice and following the path towards enlightenment, Tilopa set out to find his master, Nagarjuna. While on his travels, Tilopa stopped in a cave to meditate. While in this state, a woman named Matunga came to him, claiming to be sent by Nagarjuna. She said that Nagarjuna, who was currently teaching in the God realm, could not be disturbed, and knowing that his student was on a search for him, Nagarjuna sent Matunga instead to continue Tilopa's training. While working with him, Matunga became aware that Tilopa still maintained a powerful pride left over from his royal caste, which was hindering his progress. In order to shed this hindrance, she instructed Tilopa to work for a prostitute, or yogini, in the town below. Tilopa came down the mountain, and upon finding his new boss, began to work for her both day and night. During the day, he would work as a tilopa, or seed pounder, in order to extract oil from sesame seeds. This is where Tilopa's name derives from. At night, he would solicit sex for his yogini. Upon hearing of his doings, Tilopa was officially expelled from his monastery, a move which was of little to no consequence to the free-minded and determined prodigy. One day, while pounding sesame seeds, Tilopa finally achieved enlightenment. He is said to have levitated in the air as high as 7 palm trees with his mortar and pestle still in hand. As everyone in the village came to look, so too did his yogini. Upon seeing her employee in such a glorious state, she mentally thought that she too would like to achieve enlightenment. Tilopa received this mental request and threw her down a flower. The flower landed on her head, and she is said to have received complete realization at that very instant. With this, she too began to float up to his height. Tilopa then began to sing the song of the Dharma, as would become his custom for teaching his disciples. He used the sesame seeds as an example, saying that although the seed contained oil, it could not produce it on its own. Without hard work, the oil cannot be extracted, and so too, with hard work, could the latent Buddha nature within us all be realized. Upon hearing his song, all in the crowd are said to have attained complete realization. From that day on, Tilopa became famous, and his teachings have become an important part of the Tantric canon. One of his most notable traits is that he is said to have no human guru, but received instruction directly from Buddha Vajradhara, a rare and great honor in the Buddhist tradition. Tilopa is also said to have been a master of Sangwa Dupa, Denshi, Mahamaya, Demchak, and Havajra Tantras. These are, respectively, the practices of illusory body, transference of consciousness, conscious dreaming, clear light, and inner heat generation, all signs of a great tantric master. Tilopa's teachings usually came in the form of song, his most famous being Tilopa's song to Naropa. Naropa was Tilopa's best student and carried on his tradition and teachings after his death. Tilopa's fundamental approach to enlightenment is called Tantra. Tantra consists of erasing the duality of everyday life. Too often, people classify things as good or bad and other such dichotomies. Tantra teaches that while many create a division between the human world and the divine, struggling each day with choices and goals, the truth path to enlightenment is to let all of that go. One must be able to eliminate all the dualism in the world and see that the human world and the divine world are all connected. Once this is done, one will achieve enlightenment. Tilopa's song to Naropa contains Tilopa's most basic teaching, the main thrust of which is how one is to attain enlightenment. Since this song incorporates all of his basic ideas, it has become one of his most popular teachings. It was sung to his prodigy, not because he felt it was something that could be communicated through human ideas and words, because in fact he felt the exact opposite. Instead, it was because he saw in Naropa the same eagerness and loyalty that he himself had before enlightenment, and decided he had to try to communicate his wisdom. He starts out by saying that Mahamudra cannot be defined, because to do so would include certain things and eliminate others, creating a duality. Mahamudra is literally the great gesture, but is more commonly referred to as the Great Seal, meaning total oneness with the universe. In Tantra, it is usually connected with a sexual orgasm. Tilopa goes on to say that one must not strive for Mahamudra, for effort is merely the ego, a remnant of self-identity. He instead preaches on tantric meditation, in which one focuses on the sky without seeing anything. In this form of meditation, when one is fully attuned, the clouds will disappear, leaving only the sky. Tilopa goes on to promote many more ways to practice his tantric methods, all basically consisting of relaxing and emptying one's head of all thoughts. The idea behind this is that enlightenment will find you this way. For if you seek it through the instruction of sutras, you have given yourself a goal, a desire, and as Tilopa says, it only hides the light. His most striking and poignant stanza is this: to transcend duality is the kingly view. To conquer distractions is the royal practice. The path of no practice is the way of all Buddhas. He who treads that path reaches Buddhahood. In conclusion, Tilopa stands out as one of the true tantric masters in the Buddhist tradition. His journey to enlightenment was much like that of the Buddha himself, perhaps explaining why there is such a strong connection drawn between the two. His teachings still live on today as some of the most important works of Buddhist thought, and are utilized throughout the Buddhist world for those with a deep and powerful commitment to the practice.